love FlossTube. This is Kate Madam Ice and welcome back to my FlossTube channel. I'm super excited to be coming at you again from my deck. It's a beautiful day. I'm not spending quite as much time out here because it is pretty warm now. It's getting warmer here in South Carolina, but I'm still spending plenty of time out here and it still brings me a lot of peace and joy. So I'm excited to be here talking to you guys today. I want to say welcome to anyone who's new. I've gotten a good number of new subscribers and we are actually creeping pretty close to the 1,000 subscriber mark. So yay, I'll have to come up with something, a giveaway of some kind or something if we hit that 1,000. So we'll figure it out. It's been, I don't know, gosh, over a month since I last spoke to you, so I have so much to talk to you about. I am not going to be able to show you everything that I worked on. I just grabbed a bunch of things. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably pretty close to everything. Okay, so I was just having some troubles with the wind knocking over. I think you're a little more stable now, but you're a little bit lower, so excuse if I have any double chins appearing here. Anyways, so I've got so much to show you. I'm not gonna be able to show you everything that I worked on. It's gonna be a lot. I just grabbed like a bunch of whips and put them in a pile so I could bring them out here and talk to you about it. So I've got whips, I've got some new starts still that I haven't shown you from Mania. I have a new start since Mania, which means, if you know my system at all, yes, I did have 2 finishes in order to earn that new start. I have some FFOs, I have some haul, but I'm just not gonna show you that. I'm sorry, all you haul lovers out there, but I don't think we're gonna have time for that. And then at the end, I have some super exciting updates on my shop. So I hope that you choose to stick around today to listen to the shop news, because I'm stoked about it and getting motivated again for the shop, which is nice. But anyways, let's just hop to because we got a lot to talk about. Okay, so I'm gonna start working my way through this giant pile I have over here. But I've got some of the new starts from Mania, and I don't really remember what I showed you and what I didn't from last time, so sorry if you've seen them. So I started Lovebirds by Riolis. I don't remember if I showed you this or not, but if I showed it to you, this is going to be a repeat because I haven't worked on it since the one day that I worked on it in Mania. And this is where I am. It's just a tiny little startup here. I'm using the Ada and the wool threads that came in the kit. And I'm not sure if I'm using the wool correctly. I hope so. It says there's combinations of using 1 strand or 2 strands. And it looks like you probably could separate each of the lengths that come off the card. It looks like you could probably separate it into 2. So I wasn't sure if you're supposed to separate it or leave it as is. I'm just leaving it, but it seems like it might be kind of thick when I'm using 2 threads. I guess we'll just see how it works out. But yeah, I just have this little measly tiny start on it, and it was just the one day on Mania. Just have so many other things to work on, you know? I'm gonna try to put this stuff away while I'm talking to you because otherwise I will be a hot mess later today. Okay, next up is another Mania start. And I think I did show you this one already, but this is Magic is on the Way by LoLaLotta shop on Etsy. And it's super cute. And here's where I am on it. It's on a giant piece of fabric. I could probably cut it down. Okay, so I started with the border because all of this stuff here is back stitching essentially. and the cross stitching is up here in Hedwig and then not until you start stitching the stairs. And I was not very trusting of myself to be able to count from here all the way over here and get it placed in the right spot. So I actually started with a border so I could make sure I was placing Hedwig and the stairs correctly. And I have Hedwig, that's all the cross stitches. Now it just has a lot of back stitching on her, sorry. And then I started the stairs here. Now I decided to order some milliner's needles because I'm told that, or I've heard that they help with making French knots because the eye of the needle is the same width as the shaft. So it doesn't blow out your knot when you're pulling the thread through. And you can see there's French knots up in this border. And I really do think it's helping. So if you're having troubles with French knots, I would give it a shot. It seems to help. Alright. I didn't let Stella come out here while I'm filming because it's really hot and she would just stand here and pant at you the whole time. But now she's standing in the window over here just staring at me like, why am I not outside right now? Poor thing. Alright, next thing that I started during Mania that I think I showed you this one too. But I started Mini Oak King, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Stokes. And I've worked on it a few times since Mania, so I've got about 1 million parked threads here. But you can see I've got just this little corner done, and you can kind of, I don't know if the picture is gonna get this very well, but you can kind of see that there's starting to be some movement. If you can tell, there's a lot of colors in there from all these parked threads, but it kind of just looks like a dark blob unless you're seeing it in person. In person, it's showing like pretty distinctly some branches and stuff. But I don't know. You just might not be able to get that on here. I'm not quite sure. But here's Mini Oak King by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm really enjoying it. I like full coverage, guys. It's just nice and methodical. So I enjoy it. Okay, the next thing is my new start that was post-Mania. So I have 2 finishes that I'll show you later on, but this was my start that I earned from those finishes. So I am stitching, I'm working on the Secret Garden mystery style that Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts puts on in the stitching book club that I think it's she. I could probably read some emails and make sure but that they do for they've done a couple books. That's what I'm trying to say. They've done a couple books so far, and what they do is they release a part of the design, and with that they release, like they say, to read chapters 1 through 8. And then when they post the second part of the design, they also post discussion questions covering the first set of chapters that they had you read. So it's super fun. And I'm loving reading this book, and I'm loving the stitch. I'm doing it 1/1. Oh my god. Did you hear that? That was a dragonfly running into my patio. It kind of scared me because it was like right in front of me. Anyways, I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. So this is itty bitty. Oh, it's so cute. This is through most of part 2. Part 3 just came out today, which is Sunday, June 21st. Since I didn't mention that yet. But there's one more, this flower here, there's one more of those up here by this robin, and then she just released part 3, and I looked at it right before this video, and it's got another robin here, and then some more green leaves and some of these flowers again up above. So before I decided to do it 1/1 for sure, I messaged, I think it is a her. Yeah, definitely her. I don't remember her name, but I messaged her and asked if it would be a suitable design for 1/1, like making sure there weren't any fractional stitches or things like that, and she said there weren't. And in the welcome packet, she mentions that she has you get like a fat quarter of fabric, and in her called for size, which is 14 count Aida, I think, and she says to make sure that you stitch it in the middle of the fabric, because however the finishing is at the end, you need a little bit of extra room. So I stuck this, like, there's so much room around all the edges of this design. This is the width of it, and then it'll be a little bit taller. But I left a ton of room because I want to make sure that whatever that finishing idea is, I can still do it. Even though it's tiny on one of them. Okay, next up, I worked on My Mother's Tree by Lavender and Lace. And it's on the scroll rod, so I'm not going to be able to show you all of it. But here we are. I've finished one of the 2 names that I'm trying to get done this month, which is Miss Hannah Elizabeth Hamilton, which is the longest name on my tree, which is interesting because Miss Jane Rush right here, I'm pretty sure, is the shortest. So this looks very stark, in my opinion, but it looks normal when you put all of the names together. So I think at this point, Hannah Elizabeth Hamilton is the first one with a middle name. So I think that we just couldn't find the middle names for the rest of these ladies. But from here on out, they have middle names, so they're just a little bit longer in general. But yeah, this is Grandma, great-grandma, great-great-grandma, great-great-great-grandma Hannah Elizabeth Hamilton. So I'm working on great-great-grandma here. And then I have, so once I finish that one, next month I'll do the last 2 names and I will have this sucker done, which is super exciting. I'm excited to see it in its completion. And so, okay, my WIPGO board has been nice to me thus far this year, because in February, March, April, and May, the draws for WIPGO included, one of them was to stitch names on that piece, which I was trying to do anyways, just to keep on track to get it done. So this month, it is close to the end of the month, and I am so far behind on my like monthly goals. We got some of them done, but in this next week I really need to just focus on the things that I want to have it done by the end of the month, like finishing the second name on that piece. And I'm just gonna have to try to make it work on prompts and enchanted stitching and magical stitches, and just try to make it work there, because I really want to finish my other goals. Next up is, speaking of WIPGO, Liza Bellicox by Hands Across the Sea. And I've gotten a good amount done on her because she is one of my WIPGO draws for this month. It was to spend 5 hours stitching on her, and I have done 4 of the 5 hours so far. I'm just creeping ever closer to this corner over here so that I can start working down. But I got that first pansy done, which is exciting. Those are a lot of stitches. But luckily with the pansy, it's a lot of stitches, but they're like blocks of color. It's not like the rose over here that was a ton of stitches and like 8 colors. So she is gorgeous. I'm not going to allow myself to put her on the end bars though until I finish my second name for Mother's Tree, because that one's more important in the priorities of which goals to reach. Getting Mother's Tree done for my grandma is above completing Whip Go for the month. In my head. Next up, I've gotten some progress on Beauty and the Beast from Disney Dreams collection. I've got it in the key snap here, but I've finished another diagonal from the last time that I showed you and started the next one. So I think right here is actually the edge of the first page, and this is obviously the bottom of the first page. So I'm almost to the point where my diagonals will start getting smaller. That's exciting. And Maurice's balloon is almost done, which is also exciting. I think it'll look even better once the back stitching happens, but I'm not going to do that till the very end. Alright. Next up is actually a monthly goal that I did get done already, which is good. And that is my rule for Lizzie Kate's Halloween rules, which is the 12 months of Halloween sale that is being hosted by Katelyn of A Stitch for Mom. And this fabric's kind of see-through, so I'm going to have to kind of bend it here. But I am done. These you've all seen before, but I'm just going to scroll really quick because it's cute. There's the skeleton or mummy, I guess, with the hashtags that I don't understand. And then I finished up this one, Sit for a Spell for June. And that cat's kind of cute. I put the etoile in this one is the cat's eye color, and the collar is where I put my etoile. But yeah, it's almost done, guys. This will be another one that, since I'm keeping up on it, it should be done in October. So, you know, I do okay when I have monthly goals on things like that. Okay, so the last whip I want to show you here is my French Flower Shop by Sunset. And this one is my other Whip Go draw for this month, and I have not worked on it at all. So I decided to show it so that I was forced to pull it out of the bottom of my whip pile so that hopefully in the next week I put in some time on it. My Whip Go board says to do 5 hours on it by the end of this month. We'll see. Now with Whip Go, I don't have to have it all the way done. Like, I can go into July and still stitch 5 hours on it then, and it's okay, but I would like to have it done before the next Whip Go draws. And I don't remember if you've seen it with some of the flowers in here or not. I just don't remember where it was last time you guys saw it, but that's where I am now. So it's coming along. You know, it's not very much wider. This is almost the edge over here, and then this is another piece where I'm getting to the point where I'm reaching, can see the glimmer of hope of being all the way on this other side so I can start working down, which is exciting. So I will need to pull that one out soon. Okay, those are all the whips that I wanted to show you. You're probably like, Katelyn, that was pretty much all your whips. You're right. I only have 14 right now, so that was a lot, a big percentage, but okay. So let's move into finishes, which I only have one that is just finished and not FFO'd, and that is Inga Stan's here. My second version of this piece that I designed. It's not really working, is it? Okay, try it one more time. Here we go. So I used a sulky floss on this. This fabric is, picture this plus Mystic, it's 32 count, and then I used this sulky variegated floss and stitched on the diagonal and made this really cool effect that I am really happy with. I'm pleased with this. I am happy that I stitched it a second time to see how it looks like this. So I will talk more about her in a minute, but first I want to move on to my FFOs. So my first FFO is I FFO'd my Dragonfly pillow. This is called Dragonfly Pillow by Tiny Modernist, and it was I did a giveaway with the other piece of this fabric and all the same flosses that I use, and I sent a fat quarter of these two fabrics for my 1-year FlossTube anniversary giveaway, and so I finished it up and actually had motivation to fully finish it. Oh, here's the back. I just did a little diagonal stripe on there. I'm not like super thrilled with how the where I turned it happened, but it's fine. It's cute. So this is lovingly known as my radioactive dragonfly. I don't know where I'm gonna put it yet. It's just kind of sitting out. But then my finish / FFO is Winter Wonderland by Mill Hill. And I finished this after Mania, and you can see all the beads on there. It is a shiny thing in person. I think you're kind of getting it here, but it is really pretty. I think the beads almost killed me, and I'm taking a break from buttons and beads kits because I have pretty much in the last 2.5 years have always had one going, and this was the last one. So I'm just gonna take a break from the button and beads kits for a hot second. There's just so many beads. I like beads. They're gorgeous, but and then my last FFO is I FFO'd this is the Love Sweet Love Sal. It's a freebie from Ingleside Imaginarium if you are in her Facebook group. I will try to link that one down below. And from here up is her design, and then I wanted to do something. She released this in March when, you know, COVID-19 really hit the United States, and she was trying to give stitchers something good to look forward to every day when we were really uncertain at the beginning. And we're still uncertain, but at least we've gotten used to not knowing what's going to be happening in our future, right? I mean, we're at the point where we're all just used to being like, yep, who really knows what's going to happen? But so she was releasing an animal a day, and because she was doing it to try to help us all through COVID-19, and I stitched it during that time, I really just wanted to make this my COVID-19 remembrance, 2020 remembrance piece. So I added these words on the bottom: stitch when the world stood still, March 2020. And I took that Nicola Parkman on one of her little gems that she's been releasing, that's Hands Across the Sea samplers. She stitched, I think, those words exactly, the stitched when the world stood still. It might be slightly different, but the same effect. She stitched that on the bottom of one of her reproductions to remember this time, and I thought that was really nice, so I decided to do that. I put my name, obviously, and COVID-19, and I charted this tiny little biohazard symbol because, I don't know, I just felt like it. So there it is. I'm super happy with the frame too. One other FFO that I'm going to talk to you about, but I'm not going to show you, is the birth sampler that I was working on, and I actually finished it before Mania, but I haven't talked about it on here or posted anything about it. So I'll put a picture over here of it with all the personal information blurred out on it, but it turned out super sweet, and I'm really excited to get it to Tommy and Sydney when we can. When we can. So that is an FFO. That was a previous finish that I've just never talked about. Okay, that is all my cross stitch updates that I'm going to go over today. I'm about to jump into my shop updates. So if you are not into that, then thank you so much for hanging out with me and checking out what I've been up to in this time, and I hope to see you again soon, much sooner than this last time around, but you don't have to stick around and see the shop if you don't want. But if you do want to hear about the shop, okay, so first thing that I want to talk to you about is this pattern that I showed you my finish of. And again, this is the new finish of it, and this is my previous finish. And I have released the pattern for this on my Etsy shop. So my Etsy shop is linked down below, and this is the third pattern that I have in there now. And I've got project bags and grime guards as well. But I'm just super excited. This is such a versatile design, and I hope that somebody decides to stitch it and does something super creative with it too, because I mean obviously these two versions are just very different from each other. It's just different looks, but I love both of them. So I did give you the name of this fabric. It's called Inga, and it is by House of Textile Arts in their Painter's Threads line. Now, House of Textile Arts is based in Germany. It's a woman based in Germany, and it's kind of hard to find her fabric in the US. You can directly order it from their website. It's a little bit tricky to navigate through her website to find it, but I was able to find, you can purchase Inga from her directly on her website. I know that Susan at Fire Poppies carries some of her fabric. She has some. I don't know if she has Inga or not right now, but there's just not very many people. I think there's only one distributor in the United States. I think it's called Needle Nuts, and anyways, just kind of hard to find, but if you want it, it is available. I did check that. So that is first thing up, is that brand new pattern. Next up, I have some new bags that I listed, and I have 2 left at the time of this recording, and it is Marauder's Map. It's so cute. I am having such a hard time not keeping one of these for myself. But I can't keep one of every bag, or else I would just have a million. And I have this super sweet charm, platform 9 3/4, King's Cross, as a zipper pull, and y'all, I love this. I love it. Oh, and the lining is this really pretty, it's not Hogwarts themed or anything, but it matches really nicely with the maroon and tan and black just print. And all of the ones that I made of the Marauder Map print have the interior pockets for highlighters, scissors, whatever. So this is a good time to mention, if you go to my shop, you will notice that this bag is listed for a slightly higher price than in the past. So let me backstep a second. I have a friend, Abby, who is wonderful, and she has really helped me get out of my slump with the shop, and just in general I feel happier, and a big part of that is because she kind of made me extrovert a little. I don't know how else to say it. I have expanded my bubble of people that I come into contact with to include Abby and her daughter and husband, because she helped me recognize I was just to the point where I needed to have another person to talk to and hang out with. It was affecting me, and I feel kind of hypocritical because I don't think that we should be hanging out with very many people and stuff right now. I think it's smarter to keep yourself isolated, but at the same time my mental health kind of required me to be around someone, and she was the perfect person to be around. So she came over one day, she brought a sewing machine, and she helped me go through my stuff that I had in the shop, which is not very much. I had sold most of the things in my Etsy shop, and it was pretty bare. And she helped me kind of work through some new ideas for the shop, which I'll talk about in a second here. And she also helped me realize that the pricing of my bags, now that I've had the shop open for about a year, I have a better idea of how long it takes me to make them and to get the quality that I want. And the pockets on the inside of these bags take a significant amount of time. So I was kind of underpricing them just a little bit. So I have raised the price. I made it so that the bags that were previously in the shop at the lower old price are remaining at that price, but anything new going forward with a pocket will be a slightly higher price. Now, I'm not going to be making as many bags with pockets. That's the other part of this. So that interior pocket, after talking to Abby and some feedback from other people, to me, this pocket on the inside is clutch. I love it, and that's why I put them in my project bags that I sell, because I find them very useful. But I don't think everyone does. So I have decided to also start selling project bags without interior pockets, and that helps me. I can reduce the price. So with pockets, project bags with pockets are now $35, and project bags without interior pockets will be $30. And that's just a little bit more realistic of pricing for how long it takes me to make them and stuff like that. I think I'm going to lean towards making more without pockets, and I'll just make some with every once in a while. And we'll see how it goes. If you guys have opinions about that you would like to share with me, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Oh, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. The comments on YouTube isn't notifying me of comments, and I've heard that from a couple other YouTubers, and so I don't know what changed, but if I have missed a comment from you, especially on older videos, I'm very sorry. I just didn't know that you were commenting. I need to go back through today and just check and make sure that I've responded to comments, but yeah, sorry, that was a side note. Okay, so these bags, I made them all with pockets, and there's only 2 left right now. Then I haven't listed this yet, but I will be listing this afternoon 3 of these rainbow pineapple project bags, and I decided to make these ones because it is Pride Month, y'all, and this is the closest I had to rainbow print fabric, and why not start with this? So I have made 3 of these bags with this really fun bright green interior fabric, and none of them have pockets, so these 3 will be listed at $30. And I actually have a lot of this pineapple fabric. You know how sometimes you buy charts and you don't remember that you already had it? I do that with fabric. So I have purchased this fabric a few times. So I've got plenty of the pineapples. What I don't have is plenty of the interior fabric. I'm actually out of the lime green. So I'm going to work on making a couple with pockets, but it'll have something else on the interior. The lining will be a different color. And I'll make just a couple with pockets. And I haven't made the charms, the zipper pulls for it yet, but I do have pineapple charms, which are super cute. One of the other things that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making more just like single one-off bags. I've got a lot of fabric in my stash in my closet, and I want to make single bags. So I'll be doing more of that, and this is an unfinished. I'm not done with it yet. But this one I will hopefully be finishing either this afternoon or early this week and listing it, and it's the only one that I have. And it's this really pretty mushroom fabric, and the lining is this red paisley with this sweet blue zipper. So this should be going up soon. And another one that I've started but haven't finished yet, that will be a single bag, is this really pretty like sewing notions fabric, and I'm using this bubblegum pink zipper on it, and the lining is just a white print fabric. I've got more bags that I'm planning to make soon, but I just thought I would share with you a couple of them. And neither the mushroom bag nor the sewing notions bag are going to have pockets. Okay, so I have 2 new products that I want to put in my shop, and I'm so excited. The first one, they're both little pouches, but the first one that I'm going to do is just a tiny notions pouch. Now, I have just done tests of them so far, and I need to make them slightly bigger, so I need to order bigger zippers, and then I'll be able to start making them for the shop. But this is just an example that I made. Just a tiny little notions pouch to throw scissors and whatever else, you know, needles, highlighter, all that. And just a small one, and you can just toss it right in your project bag and keep it all separate that way. Kind of makes up for the lack of pocket in my head. The problem is that with this size of zipper, it's not quite big enough to fit a highlighter in it. So I'm waiting on some bigger zippers, and then I will start making these small notions pouches. And I'll just be using whatever fabric I have. The good thing with these is I can use kind of the leftovers from the project bags to make them, but also I've got a lot of just cute fabrics in my closet that would make really cute little notions pouches, but I just haven't but I don't have enough to make a project bag out of, so I might just be popping in some cute little notions pouches. And then the other thing that I'm going to start selling is, and this is the one that I have been using, and so it's kind of old and worn, but these little pods. This is a pattern that you can purchase. It's a sewing pattern. Lazy Girl Stitching, I think, is the designer's name, and she calls them sweet pea pods. I will make sure and put at least the name down below, if not a link to the pattern. So if you sew, then you can make these for yourself pretty easily. But what I use it for is when you have pattern with not a ton of flosses and you go and throw all those bobbins in your project bag, you know how the bobbins come unwound and it's really hard to just keep the threads organized in the bottom of that project bag? I stick all my bobbins in this little bag and it keeps them from unwinding on you in the bottom of the project bag. And then when I'm working, I just pull this little pouch out and, you know, prop it open like this, and I can still get at all my flosses, but it just keeps them a little bit tidier. And I really like that. So I'm going to be starting to make some of these, and I think I'm going to call them floss keepers. And I'll start making those. I'm also waiting on the right size of zippers to make these. I haven't decided yet on the pricing for either of those pouches, but when I start posting them, I'll of course have figured that out. So the last thing I want to talk about is grime guards. I've used up a lot of my elastic for masks, and so until I can kind of get my hands on some more elastic, then until I can get my hands on more elastic, I'm kind of holding off on making some grime guards for now. I have some, so if you want a grime guard of a specific kind, I try to keep my listings fairly updated. You can request for some of them, some of the prints you can request from me to make you one if I don't have a pre-made one of that size. And if you go on the listings, you'll be able to tell which ones that is, so, or which ones those are. English is hard, y'all. Anyways, I think I'm done rambling. This is a pretty long video. I am so thankful for any of you that stuck it out this long. I am so thankful that, at least for me, I'm feeling a little bit better right now. I would, quickly before closing out, I want to say that I do think Black Lives Matter, and I'm trying to be as supportive as I can with that movement. Mostly I'm trying to educate myself, and I've had a couple hard conversations with loved ones. I'm trying to do my part about speaking out and not just letting it happen, and not using my voice when I see something that is hurtful. And that's kind of hard sometimes, with your loved ones. You're not trying to, you don't want to start fights or anything like that, but sometimes it just gets too much. And I'm trying to learn how to use my voice in a way that maybe can lead to some positive changes. Okay, really now, I think that's it. So I will stop rambling, and thank you again for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you again soon. And I just appreciate all of you. Happy stitching. Bye.